Pandemic Halloween, Bigote ni Robin Padilla, and the biggest crony deal in history. It's October 31, 2021, and this is the Ryan Rambles recap. Let's get ready to ramble! Friends, this is the Ryan Rambles recap, the show where we talk about the most interesting things that happened this week. And what a week it was. But first, I want to say happy Halloween. Isa na namang pandemic Halloween. I am dressed as Billy Ray Cyrus, yung tatay ni Hannah Montana. But let me know what you guys are dressed as. Let me know in the comments or in the chat. And this is the time, this pandemic Halloween, yung tipong bibihis ka lang, tapos post sa IG, tapos nakapambahay ka ulit. No hate. I mean, astig naman makita yung mga costumes this year. And there are lots of interesting costumes. Yung lolo sa Squid Game, yung doll sa Squid Game, yung babae sa Squid Game, yung mga guards sa You get my point, diba? Puro Squid Game tayo. And a lot of people are just wearing green costumes, tapos green jackets, tapos yun na yung costume nila. But I think one costume that was really cool, that no one's talking about, Robin Padilla. He went as a old school cartoon villain. Yung tipong villain na tinatali yung girlfriend ng hero sa train tracks. Tapos may bigote na tinutwirl. May bigote na linalaro niya. Ay, hindi pala costume. Hindi pala costume yun. That's his real bigote. Yeah. I guess he's a real life villain kasi medyo mainit yung pangalan ni Robin this week kasi may sinabi siyang statement regarding the Marawi compensation bill. So if you don't know, you're not familiar with the bill, ito yung isang initiative ng government para mabayaran yung mga taong nawalan ng bahay noong 2017 sa Marawi. Finally, they can move on. Pero sabi ni Robin na ayaw niya sa salitang compensation because it's an admission of a mistake. Victory daw. Nanalo ang AFP, ang Armed Forces of the Philippines dito, kaya bastos sa mga soldiers ang salitang compensation. Which doesn't make sense to me. At sobrang dami yung naggalit sa kanya. Kasi imagine natin may neighbor tayong mamamatay tao. May isang murderer na neighbor. Tapos pinasabog yung buong kalye nyo, wala ka ng bahay para lang mapatay yung murderer na yon. And then 4 years later, ipapaayos yung bahay mo. Pero may umepal na taong may cartoon na bigote na tinatwirl niya. Sabi niya, hindi. Nanalo kami kaya hindi yan compensation. And obviously, nagalit ang mga taga-Marawi na may lack of understanding daw si Robin Padilla tungkol sa issue. Which makes sense. It sounds like he didn't read enough. Pero mas nakakagago, at this moment, gumagawa si Robin Padilla ng pelikula tungkol sa Marawi. It's called Children of the Lake. So I wonder how that's gonna turn out. It sounds kind of bad right now, but it's gonna be directed by Joyce Bernal, who directed his movie 10,000 Hours. Probably the best Robin Padilla movie I've seen, maybe ever. So hopefully it's gonna be more like that and less like the Bato movie, which no one wants to talk about. But let's talk about the day after Halloween, diba? All Saints Day, All Souls Day, ito yung panahon para bisitahin yung mga pumanaw natin na kamag-anak. Usually, pupunta tayong sementaryo, diba, magdadasal tayo. Pero bawal ngayong taon. We live in unprecedented times nga. Yun yung sinasabi ng mga tao. We go to Zoom calls, tapos naka-brief lang tayo. And usually, that's fine if you don't get caught. But someone got caught this week. This is Senator Drilon in his, di naman naka-brief, naka-shorts siya. Pero huling-huli, and it made me laugh a lot. So if you are, you want to do a Zoom call, tapos naka-brief ka lang sa ilalim, please, don't get caught. Don't get caught. The last thing your lola wants to see habang nagdo-rosaryo kayo is her 30-year-old apo, tapos Avengers pa rin yung brief niya. Maybe a bad idea. Baka lang. And let's move on to the biggest news of the week. Because apparently, the biggest crony in Philippine history isn't Danding Coangco or any of the Marcos cronies. It's Dennis Uy. And it happened this week.
the most incredible Crony agreement in history. That's how the graft complaint against the Malampaya stakes sale to Udenna described the deal, which involves Energy Secretary Alfonso Cusi, billionaire Dennis Uy, and several others.
This is the most incredible crony agreement, not just in the history of the Philippines, but I would say in the history of the world. I mean, this should shock our nation. How can we allow this to happen?
The biggest crony agreement in the history, not of the Philippines, of the world. So a little background, Malampaya supplies 40% of the energy in Luzon. Sobrang laki na 40%. Ako kung 40% yung tank ng kotse ko, aabot siguro akong alabang. Maybe halfway, iilaw na yung tank, pero okay lang. Abot pa rin. And this used to make sense because until recently, Malampaya was owned by energy companies. 45% Chevron, 45% Shell, tapos 10% yung government. But everything changed when Dennis Uy bought Shell earlier this year, and then he bought Chevron this week. So if nothing is done, Dennis Uy will be able to control 36% of Luzon's energy. And if this doesn't really strike you, if I turn it into money perspective, kikita siya ng 42 billion pesos per year hanggang 2024. That's like more than 5 formalies per year that could have gone to the government. And respectfully, anong alam ni Dennis Uy tungkol sa energy? I know him as a guy who owns Contis. Masarap yung mga cake nila. Pero sapat na ba yun para mag-run ng energy company? That's like if we gave Meralco to Goldilocks. Diba yung tipong mag-brown out tapos bigyan ka ng mamon? Ayoko ng mamon, gusto ng kuryente. But you might think, where did he get the confidence? It cost more than 1 billion pesos to buy both of these, both of the stakes. It cost more than $1 million to buy the stakes of both Chevron and Shell. And if you look at his net worth, it's $710 million according to Forbes. So saan galing yung pera? Well, it was all loaned. So Dennis Uy is taking none of the risk but getting all of the benefits. So paano to nangyari? Well, kung didikit ka kay Papa Dutz, kayang-kaya yan. Si Duterte nagalit sa mga oligarchy unless oligarchy niya. Diba? And if you think about it, in 2019, this was the first time that Dennis Uy made the Forbes 50 richest list in the Philippines. Number 22 siya noong 2019 after never being on the list before. And right now, that's his number. Mga 20s siya. But what can we do? I mean, oo, may mga tao tulad ni Senator Gatchalian na sinusubukang i-void yung deal para hindi matuloy. But we as people, I think we can make sure na hindi natin makakalimutan to. 'Di ba? Naalahanin natin hanggang 2022, hanggang sa election, na ito yung style ni Duterte at ng Duterte government. Nagalit sila sa mga oligarchs unless oligarch nila. So that's it for the Ryan Rambles recap. Hopefully, you enjoyed talking about the most interesting things that happened this week. If there's anything you want me to talk about next week, make sure to reach out to me on Instagram at _Ryan Rosella. But till next week, peace and I love y'all. Hoy mga Pinoy, ito na ang medisina, nagbabagong apoy, linagyan ng gasolina, kaya't tinatanong pa ba kung kanino at sino ang tiyak na puntahan sa kulturang Pilipino? Ako na ang